The first thing you want to do is make sure that you turn off your headlights before you try to replace the bulb. The second thing would be to check your fuse to make sure that you don't have a bad fuse for your bulb, but most likely it's going to be the bulb itself. To remove the bulb, you're probably going to have some kind of a cover and possibly a trim ring that's holding it in place. Once you remove both of these, you should be able to just pull the bulb out of its socket connected to the wiring harness. Simply pull the bulb out of the harness. You can take this to any automotive store or to your dealership to replace it. Remember, it is a halogen bulb. You don't want to touch the glass part with your fingers because the oil from your fingers can cause damage to the bulb. Take the new bulb, simply plug it back into the outlet, make sure that it's in tight, put it back into the socket for the headlight, put the trim ring back on to hold it in place, and your cover. And that's all there is to it.
And that's all there is to it. So you're listening to, this is The Dawn Show, and you're listening to Lori Johnson, who's really saving you money, but also might be saving lives, or at least, you know, making us all a little bit safer with this information. So it's your idea of Ladies Start Your Engine, you call it. It's your company that you founded, and you teach people, but you also are a mechanic, right? I mean, you will work on their cars as well if they're not a good student.
Well, yeah. Sometimes the people who volunteer their cars get a little more, you know, they get special treatment because we find things on their car when we're doing it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So with the light bulb, though, I find it interesting that you said it's so important to, and I never knew this, to wear the gloves.
Yeah, wear gloves or use a rag or something. You don't want to touch that glass part. People don't know. They take them out and they, you know, it's not like those little flashlight bulbs that it didn't matter. Halogen bulbs get really hot, and that oil from your hands can actually break that glass when it heats up. So you don't want to touch that. The old one, obviously, you can. But when you're putting it back in, you want to be very careful. Now, not all headlights are that easy. Some of them, you have to move a battery or something to get to it. So you may not be able to do them all, but you can at least try.
Okay, and so how do you make sure that you adjust it so that you get them? Because sometimes you'll see that somebody driving and they've got one light and it's hitting you when you're in oncoming traffic.
Well, that really has to be done, you know, at a shop where they can use a headlight machine to align them. On new cars now, they have the bubbles, and you can do adjustments until that bubble's in the middle so that you know that it's where it should be. But for most of those kind of things, you've either had an accident or something's happened and put that headlight out of adjustment.
Gotcha. You know, this is my mantra that you've got your tire pressure checker. This is something that I think is so important in my family, and I give these things out because I've told you before, I have the digital ones, but they're all great. How often do you check your tire pressure?
I tell people like once a month. It's not a bad idea. Again, if you have the TPS sensor in your vehicle, it's going to tell you when the air is low. And just a little side note, if you notice on your vehicle that you have green valve stems, little caps, then there's nitrogen in there, okay? And if you have the black, then it's just air. So a lot of the TPS tires with the sensors, they'll recommend that you put nitrogen in. You can add air to those, though. That's not, you know, if it gets low, you can add air.
That's something you've got to know. But I find, especially, I'll check it more in the fall and the spring, more than once a month, because when you have those days with the sharp temperature changes, the tires can go low.
Yeah, you just want to be careful because you don't want to be trying to overguess. I mean, again, because it's colder, it's going to look a little bit lower. But if you stay within that 5 pounds, that's usually what the sensors are set to. If it goes below the 5 pounds, that's when it's going to alert you to add air. But again, you want to check them when they're cold. Not after you've been driving for a while. And, you know, it doesn't hurt to add a little air. You just don't want to have them overinflated.
Because what happens then?
Well, it creates a wear pattern. If they're overinflated, they're going to wear down the middle strip of the tire. And if it's underinflated, it's going to wear the edges of your tire because the tire's going to want to buckle in. Because it's underinflated. So it just is going to cause excessive tire wear that's not necessary if you keep them inflated. And also rotating them.
And where do you find how much pressure should be in your tire?
Good question. A lot of people think, oh, it's on the tire. It's never on the tire because those tires are manufactured for millions of different vehicles. You always want to look in your owner's manual or on the driver's side door. Usually there's a panel and it'll tell you what the tire pressure is. So that's where you're going to find it, is on the vehicle itself, not on the tire.
So mine is 32. So in other words, if it's 30 or it's 34, I'm fine?
You want to stay as close to that 32 as possible, but yeah, as long as you stay within a couple pounds, you're going to be good.
Yeah, and I just think this is so important, not only for safety with the tires or whatever we're talking about, but also because it's going to save you money down the road. If you're taking care of your vehicle and you're not getting, I mean, tires are expensive.
Right, they are expensive. I mean, they're made with oil, so oil is expensive, so it costs more to make tires. But the other thing too is that you know, you wear those tires in certain places, there's nothing you can do. The rest of the tread may be good, but you're still losing traction, and if they're deflated, you're causing more drag on the car, so it's taking more gas. I mean, it's not huge, but any little thing helps, especially now with gas being expensive. You can save a buck here or there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to find out more from Lori, what you need to have in your vehicle, especially during winter time when the Dawn Show returns.